What is the creepiest thing you've seen in the woods, or in the mountains, or in deserts, or caves, or in small towns, or in remote or rural areas, or while on large bodies of water, or while on an aircraft or a nautical vessel? I'd been at football training with a few of my cousins when I was about 10 years old. We decided to take a walk before our parents picked us up, so we went along the canal towpath. My cousin looked down in the canal and saw a really nice jacket floating along, and being a weird scavenger person decided to reach in to fish it out. Well, the jacket turned over. And so did the man wearing it. He also had no face left. Not gonna lie, that was rough. Posted about this before, but back when I was a kid, some friends and I came across people in robes chatting around a campfire out in the woods on the edge of the town we lived in. We were staying at a friend's house for a birthday party sleepover and went for a late-night walk. This was back in the late 80s during the Satanic Panic. Looking back now, I'm sure it was just some teenagers goofing around, but at the time it scared the living bejesus out of us. One of the girls with us had a panic attack and started hyperventilating. Got pretty serious, but we finally managed to get her calmed down. It's 2 a.m. We're in a tent in the woods in Maine. I'm about 8. Mom, there's something creeping around outside the tent. MMMPH, you're dreaming, go back to bed. Mom, there really is something out there. No. There isn't. Just then, something whaps on the side of the tent, hard enough to shake the whole thing. And my mother, who is entirely too goddamn tired to deal with this shit, sits bolt upright and whaps right back in the same spot. And from outside the tent, we hear meow. Edit, it was a house cat. We didn't hear anything more the rest of the night. Not sure how creepy this is, but I was on a week-long camping trip with some friends and I woke up with a weasel sitting on my chest looking at me. I never knew I could scream that loud. I found a woman's body floating in a harbor in San Pedro, CA. Felt like running at night last year because the park near where I live gets all pretty with the lights on in the dark. So after 5 minutes into the exercise, I feel the need to adjust my shoes because I forgot to wear a longer sock and they were hurting my ankle. I look up and I see this dark silhouette running towards me at full speed wearing a hoodie about 50 meters away. I was on the left side of the street and he was on the right, so it was clear he was running towards me. I legit almost shitted my pants and felt an adrenaline surge. I thought about fighting him if he got any closer, but in a blink of an eye, the person trips, falls face planted on the ground, and starts crawling in my ducking direction again. Fuck that, dude is committed. I'm leaving. Edit. Some people mentioned the scene from Get Out https://youtube.bisp4gny0. It was exactly like that, but he fell halfway through. I was Boy Scout, camping with my group of older buddies and an adult leader in Yellowstone. We had been backpacking for 2 days and stopped in a beautiful little clearing at the bottom of some huge tree-covered hills. The sun started to set, we made a fire, and I began to climb up into the trees to dig a hole and fill it back up. You know what I mean. As I squat there, basking in moonlight and appreciating the glow of fire among the trees, I looked up to a ridgeline a few hundred yards away where the moon was rising, and I shit you not, I saw a damn big cougar crest the hill and just watch our fire. It was likely no danger to me, but seeing that outline, that unmistakable shoulder crawl they do, was haunting. I watched it sit there for a good 15 minutes until I was called back by my worried buds. I pointed the cat out to them when I got done because it was still just watching us. Crazy. My girlfriend and I were hiking along some abandoned railroad tracks and we get to a small bridge going over a little creek. I'm about to go explore under the bridge when she points something out. I look over and in the woods across from us I see a guy. I'm like whatever and keep headed down to the creek area, and then the guy stands up and has naked. We immediate backtrack pretty quickly to get away from there, and once we're like 1 minute down the trail I look back and this naked dude is just standing in the middle of the trail watching us walk away. Walking on the beach with my boyfriend, and we had walked to a giant rocky cliff to make out. Somebody was just gazing at the ocean, crying and shaking. Mind you, this is late at night, like around 9:30 p.m. We asked him if he was okay. He apologized and practically ran back down the cliff, away from the dangerous areas. My boyfriend and I watched him until he reached the public area and decided to call it a night. I'm pretty sure he was going to jump. My friend and I were chilling in the woods one day back in high school and see a dog walking by, later followed by this kid. He looked troubled, so we asked if he needed help. He obliged, telling us he was dog sitting for his friend and the dog got loose. So we spent a good hour following this dog and kid around, going deeper and deeper into the woods. Eventually I finally got the dog to come to me, but it wasn't wearing a collar, so I wasn't able to get a hold. My friend and I look away for just few seconds to discuss strategy, and when we turn back around, the boy and the dog are both gone. It was like they completely vanished. Keep in mind it was autumn, so any footsteps could be heard from quite afar. But it was just silent. Not a single trace of them anywhere. Still don't really know what happened. Maybe they ran away real quick? Who knows? Was definitely enough to creep us out though. I was hiking in northern Quebec, doing some exploration work for geologists. The thing about northern Quebec is that it has forests, mountains, hills. Pretty much all green, black and gray. Except that in the middle of a forest we hiked through, we found this strange all-yellow patch of grass in a perfect circle. About the diameter of a medium-sized house. It was almost perfectly flat too. Caught us off guard. When I was about 7 or 8, my parents sent me to a local summer camp that they would pick me up from in the afternoons. I never really liked it because the kids were mean, everything was either broken or not clean, and the counselors obviously didn't care. I remember the girls' changing room had a door that led out to the woods, but the doorknob was gone, so it was unlocked all the time and you could see into it. This was primarily where the girls changed into their bathing suits, and there was usually someone blocking the view while we changed so the boys couldn't look in. Well, one day I'm changing alone and someone wasn't blocking the door. I look over and see an eye peeping in through the hole watching me change. I pull the rest of my clothes back on quickly and run out to tell my twin brother. I tell my dad that I don't want to go back to that camp anymore, and he begrudgingly takes us out of the camp pretty soon after because he knew how much we hated it. Years later, the camp has been closed down for many years, and I'm asking my dad about it. He gets really grim and tells me it shut down because a 13-year-old boy had raped a 7-year-old girl in the woods right behind the girls' bathroom a few weeks after I had told him about someone watching me change. Edit, a word. I was walking with family when I was little and we came across a sheep's head. No body or blood, just a severed sheep's head on the path. It was the first time I noticed sheep's eyes have slit pupils, and I think my first contact with something so gruesome. During a YMCA camp, 15 to 20 years ago, was around 11 to 13 at the time, we were camping in tents in a forest area. Was middle of summer, so stayed light till around 10 p.m., 11 p.m. till it was fully dark. So we go on a night walk with the group and are halfway into the forest when we notice someone definitely not belonging to our group following us. Camp leaders rushed us back to camp and put us into our tents with one leader staying up to watch us. Halfway through the night, wake up and have to pee like a madman. Get out of the tent to walk to the bathroom and see the leader supposed to watch us asleep in his chair by the campfire. Look around and see that the guy following us earlier has opened up and is peeking into one of the tents, while fumbling in a bag he has next to him. Screamed louder than I ever screamed in my life. Leaders wake up, jump the guy and hold him till the police arrive. Turns out he had a taser, blindfold, rope and several knives in his bag. Was working in a forest in East Africa for a while. Was getting seriously dark and we were hiking back to the car. The wind was quite strong, but you could still hear some ruffling in the leaves, and as I turned around, I saw something quite big in the shrubs. Was a ducking leopard. I shrieked and some guy from the group shot into the air to scare the animal away. I am glad he didn't shoot the animal but was still glad when the animal bolted out of there.